Dueling Dialogues is brought to you by our affiliates at hostpapa.com. Click the banner on the rightleftchronicles.com for premium unlimited web hosting with the highest rated reviews at the lowest prices. Coming to you from that once-forgotten artery that pulses through the center of the continental United States and into the heart of the Ozarks, Grace Matthews. Looking in from the northern border, our Canadian friend, along with his countrymen feeling the effects of U.S. political issues, Connor Murphy.
Welcome to Dueling Dialogues, episode 112. I'm Connor Murphy here with Grace Matthews. Hi, Grace. How you doing?
Pretty good. It's rainy in Motown.
Oh, I wish we've got wildfires here 11 kilometers away. So I don't know if I'm going to have a studio next week. So scary stuff.
Yeah, that could be bad.
Yeah, for sure. And we're in a heat wave again. We haven't had rain in about a month. So things aren't looking too good right now.
Oh, darn.
Did you see my pictures? I posted some pictures yesterday on social media.
I did. I think a lot of people would be interested in those.
Yeah, that was with my.
In fact, I was showing those off yesterday.
That was with my new phone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got a little story for you there. Yeah,
good pictures.
So my phone packs it in, and I just had like my own phone with a phone carrier, right? Still got to pay my phone bill, whether I have a contract or not with them, right? So when my phone packed it in, I just went and got another phone. So I got the phone, ordered it online, got it in my house, and I go to put the SIM card in, and the SIM card gets stuck in it. So, yeah, brutal. They wanted me to give them $200 to fix the phone and send it back to them, and they'd send it to China to be fixed for me. So that was my phone carrier's assessment of the situation, right? That was what they were going to offer. Yeah. So I of course, I was like, no, that's not good enough. So I escalated all the way up to the president. So got to talk to the president on it. But everything worked out okay in the end. And that's because of someone on Facebook named Rob Sharp, and he runs a local company called Locally Cracked, and he fixes screens for, tablets, phones, whatever. Yeah. So he heard my plight. He came down. He lives like about 40 minutes north of me too. So he drove down here, grabbed my phone, drove it back home. The next day returned it all fixed and ready to go. So big shout out to Locally Cracked.
Yeah, so I love that name too, Locally Cracked.
Yeah, so speaking of my phone, the reason I brought this up, actually, I mean, a pretty long story for one point, but I was trying that Google Assistant thing out yesterday. So I said, okay, Google, play me Dueling Dialogues podcast. Within 2 seconds, it found our latest episode, read the title, and started playing it.
Yay!
Yeah, how cool is that? It's actually pretty scary when I really thought about it.
Well, that's fabulous, and I want to mention again, since you opened that door, we're going to be going video here very soon in the fall, and so that's exciting, and thanks to listeners. We've got a lot of listeners.
Yeah.
So that's exciting.
Yes. Yeah. So what do we got today?
Well, today is primary day in about 5 states, one of them being Missouri. So I thought we would talk a little bit about midterms.
Okay.
I don't care who you are, Republican, Democrat, Independent, you don't vote, I don't care. Midterms this time around are so vital, even if you're off living in France, because if the president doesn't gain or keep, I should say, the majority with Republicans,
right? A
Democratic majority means they're going to have impeachment hearings the whole time, which will kill our economy. Yep. And when the United States economy gets killed, it happens all the way down around the world because it's a trickle-down effect.
You bet.
So I think it is just critical that we do not send the United States down that path.
Yeah,
to nothing but impeachment. Chances are they wouldn't even get him impeached. The process is worse than the means to the end.
Never mind the cost.
Yeah, it's just
in
too
the
much.
Billions. You guys.
Right now we're in this housing situation.
Yeah.
Where the housing market is going to tank after the first of the year. Now they need to do something to offset this inevitable situation with housing, because there's not a lot of inventory, the prices have gone up, but the wages have not.
Right.
So you're going to hit a stalemate. And the presidents came up with a solution that is one only a businessman would come up with. And that is to, I don't know, eliminate capital gains for people that have been in their house and wish to sell, as long as they've been in their house for more than 30 years.
Huh.
That would be a way to jumpstart it and offset this wage issue, because a wage issue cannot be corrected quickly by anybody, but maybe God, I don't know. So what you also have is people like us. We bought a house planning on turning it over soon, but not this soon. We're actually going to talk about putting our house up for sale this week.
Oh, wow.
Because we don't want it to tank.
Right.
Because we've done a lot to the house. We bought it right. So it's a very critical issue. And housing is not the only thing that would suffer. And it really boils down to what you talk about all the time, this Trump derangement syndrome.
Pretty much.
And I think it is just toxic.
Well, yeah, pretty much. I mean, it is a disease. I see it. I have people in my social media feeds that have it. That's all they do all day long is post anti-Trump stuff, no matter if it's true, false, or whatever. And don't dare call something fake. Oh, my Lord. I made that mistake more than once.
Have you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
It's really hard to not say anything sometimes, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And there's
I'm
always...
sure. I sort of stay away from it.
There's always one or two guys out there that will click the like on what I say, though. So that's, there's a little bit of support there, whether they're brave or not. I don't know.
Well, and a lot of people like things or are listening or watching, but they're not going to comment because they don't want anybody else to know.
Right. True.
So it makes it much like 2016. There may not be a chance in hell that the Democrats take over the House.
Well, if they keep going the way they are, they're not.
We don't know. Yeah, we really don't know, because so many people that support the president, support at least the idealism, will not admit they do.
Well, I did see some positive stuff in the media yesterday on Trump with the black voters.
Absolutely. He is getting a lot of support from the black sector. Just a few months ago, he was at about 13%, which was actually not that bad. He's already up to 23% and growing, because you know what? His policies are putting black people back to work.
Yeah, you got that right.
And people want to work. They want jobs.
Right. And he's affecting people
so
one-on-one.
I think that's...
he's got them working, and they deep down know it. Whether they are going to admit to voting for Trump or not, that's a whole other thing. But I think deep down they know he's responsible for them getting work again.
Yeah, and I think he's going to gain a lot of votes just from people that don't want impeachment trials. They don't necessarily like him. They don't like anything he stands for. But they know that's bad for the country, and it's never worth it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and who really
and it's
should
getting
be
dangerous.
Well, who really should be looked at for stuff that they've pulled off, and nothing seems to be happening. Although QAnon says something different, but it'll remain to be seen, I guess.
Yeah, it will. And so far, QAnon has been pretty spot on. It's just not always what we expect.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily interpret it always correctly, but it's spot on. So, you know what I say? Conspiracy theory, hogwash.
Yeah.
A conspiracy theory is you think it happened, but you don't have any evidence.
Right.
Kind of like, aliens doing certain things.
And in this case, there's a lot of evidence.
There's a lot of evidence, so I have a hard time calling it a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, me too. I agree.
But we digress a little bit.
Yes. It's hard not to talk about, isn't it?
Yeah, well, and the derangement syndrome. A situation happened with Candice Owens and Charlie Kirk. Both of them are pundits for the right. Candice is black.
Okay.
Well, they were eating breakfast yesterday morning in Philly, talking about having some graphics works done. I mean, we all been there before. having a little breakfast, a little coffee, and all these people show up, rather Soros-like, like they've been paid. This is at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Right, okay.
And they start calling them names and throwing eggs and water at them.
Oh, lovely.
And chanting things like that she's a traitor because she is a black Republican or a supporter of conservative issues.
Wow.
How awful.
And that wasn't racist?
Yeah. What about reverse racism?
Yeah, it's not racist if it's in the Democratic Party.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Imagine that. But they did not. They could have pressed charges. They did not. I kind of think they should have.
Yeah.
Not because pressing charges is such a big deal, but if these people do not start pressing charges, it could elevate, and then it's like a free pass.
Yeah. Next time they're throwing rocks.
Exactly. Speaking of throwing rocks, Iran would like to throw rocks at us. Okay?
Yeah.
However, the people are starting to learn, I'm talking about the people of Iran, which we have no beef with, are starting to figure out that maybe it's not America that's so bad. Maybe it's their own government. And I think that is something that Trump wants to foster. And I bet it's a little bit like North Korea, and we've kind of gotten in some Western underground internet connections and such,
Right.
We found out the heads on that in North Korea, so that the people know what's going on the outside, because you kind of got a movement started. Nevertheless, overnight, the president stepped up the sanctions. In fact, in a tweet, he says, the Iran sanctions have officially been cast. These are the most biting sanctions ever imposed. And in November, they will ratchet up to yet another level. Anyone doing business with Iran will not, in capital letters, be doing business with the United States. I am asking for world peace, nothing less.
Wow. That's laying down the law right there, I guess.
Yes, and there are a lot of businesses in Europe that are a little upset about that today.
Well, I wonder
but I will tell you, they tried to get some money out of account in Europe this morning. No, excuse me, in Germany, per se. And you know what that bank said? Sorry, we're not giving you your money.
Wow.
Because the President of the United States has given out a warning.
Huh. There you go. Well, I wonder if you guys are going to have sanctions against Saudi Arabia because of our war with them. You heard about that, right?
I saw it tick at the bottom of the television. I didn't hear a word said about it, and I watched 3 hours, or I at least listened to 3 hours worth of news today.
Well, the Saudis and the Canadians are currently in a war. And the war happened on Twitter. So, if you're going to have a war, have it on Twitter.
That seems to be a good place to have a war lately.
Yeah. So basically, the spat started over a tweet sent down by our foreign affairs minister. And she says, Canada is greatly concerned about additional arrests of civil society and women's rights activists in Saudi Arabia, including Samar Badawi. Ugh, I should have practiced those names. We urge the Saudi. Here's what pissed them off. We urge the Saudi authorities to immediately release them. So immediate release. That is what. Yeah. And our foreign affairs minister is a woman, Chrystia Freeland. So yeah, getting an order from a woman that sent him over the top. They responded.
First of all, why did you guys send a woman over there to do that job? To Saudi. I mean, I understand giving women jobs. She didn't go there.
No, the war happened over Twitter, and basically the Canada's foreign affairs minister, Chrystia Freeland, basically asked them to, didn't ask them, ordered them to immediately release their activist. And there's some back story here. She is the sister of another activist. And he was jailed for many years in Saudi Arabia. When they finally released him, we got him out of the country and gave him asylum in Canada. So him and his family live in Canada. His sister is now taken over for him in Saudi Arabia and, protesting for women's rights.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, there's backstory here. So, Saudi responded with an Arab proverb that basically says, "He who interferes with what doesn't concern him finds what doesn't please him." And it's a picture of a jet flying into the CN Tower in Toronto.
God.
Yeah, which that tweet got removed.
That's a little over. Yeah, that's overboard.
Yeah, so
that's a threat.
Things have escalated since then. They've ordered our diplomats out of Saudi Arabia. They have canceled all flights to Canada from Saudi Arabia. And they've ordered all of their foreign exchange students, and there's a ton of them in Canada. All of their foreign exchange students out of the country. So
this is very serious, and I don't think that Trump's going to step in, because Saudi Arabia has done everything that Trump and his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, has asked.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
They've enjoyed a very nice relationship with Saudi Arabia, and after Trudeau had his words once Trump was on the plane after the G7,
right?
I don't think that Trump's going to come to the rescue, and this is very serious.
Yeah, and you know what? A lot of governments are basically under fire for not backing Canada in this. This is women's rights. This is human rights.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And, when something happens in the world, the media kind of rushes to our prime minister to get their statement and to gain support for, the right side in arguments, no matter where they are. And pretty much everybody has just remained totally silent. So, you know what? I don't want to do business with Saudi Arabia. We have plenty of sand. We have plenty of oil. And you know what? Saudi Arabia, off. How's that?
I think you made your point.
Yeah. So, go pound sand, Saudi.
And we all know what that means in Canada, right?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. We do.
Yeah, I forgot you never heard that before, pound sand.
Yeah, not until a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. Okay, so that brings us to Proposition A in Missouri. We go right from Canada to Missouri.
Pounding sand to Preparation H. You said Preparation
H, right?
Proposition A, okay.
Yeah, Proposition A, which is the right to work. What does the right to work mean? It means you don't have to join a union. It means that, a company can put in a company and they don't have to have union workers. Every state around Missouri is a right to work state. They have taken countless amounts of companies and jobs away from Missouri because Missouri is not a right to work state. People do not make less in right to work states. There are people running around this town saying vote no, and if you vote yes, you're going to make $8,200 a year less. Well, no, you're going to make a lot less than that because the company won't be here. Because it is so much cheaper to work and build a company in a right-to-work state, like Tennessee, Oklahoma.
Right.
And we have St. Louis has lost a large portion of their industry to Tennessee.
Wow.
So I hope that people will vote yes today on Prep A.
Well.
Prep A. Prep A. Now you got me saying
Preparation H. Yeah. So we'll have to follow this up next podcast.
Yes,
for sure.
We will. We will definitely have to follow that up. I don't know. Down there on the border, are those right-to-work states? Some of them are, some of them aren't, probably. I think Texas is definitely a right-to-work state, but people aren't so concerned about the wall or the fence. They want border security.
Right.
And, Trump has been chanting along with his people, build that wall, build that wall. You're hearing Trump say border security more now than he's saying build that wall.
Yeah, a virtual wall makes way more sense. A virtual digital wall with cameras and loudspeakers and whatever. Drones. Yeah. I don't know. It's going to be a lot cheaper than a wall.
Yeah, and probably a lot more effective.
Yeah, well, you can't climb over a digital fence with a ladder.
No. And, if you have a little ground penetrating radar so they can't do tunnels,
Exactly.
you pretty much got it covered.
Yeah, you are right.
And ground penetrating radar is pretty effective these days, thanks to archaeologists.
And then, I mean, drones. There's the drone thing, too, with infrared and all kinds of things. So.
Yeah, which we could talk a lot more about drones, too, and we will in the near future, because they're becoming quite the weapon, and they're hard to guard against. So you got to think about assassinations. So we'll talk about that in the future, because
I look forward to that.
That's becoming, an issue. Now, the Manafort trial. We often mention Manafort because the damn thing just doesn't make any sense to us. I mean, maybe he evaded taxes. Maybe he worked as a foreign agent in another country without registering. That's pretty black and white on paper.
Right.
You're either guilty or you're not. It's not really all that subjective. You don't really need a lot of witnesses. You need paper. Nevertheless, this has turned into a trial in which Mueller is trying Manafort. Okay, he is special counsel, in hopes of finding Trump or Trump's team guilty of collusion or conspiracy to collude,
Right.
in the Russian-American election debacle. Okay?
Yeah.
Yesterday, now this is the prosecution, called to the witness stand Rick Gates. That was Manafort's. I hear it said, I hear him called partner in some instances. I hear him called employee. I don't know which it is. Okay, so Gates testifies that he scammed Manafort. He embezzled all this money from Manafort.
Oh, no.
So where in the hell how could the prosecution, where are they going with this?
Oh, wow. Okay.
I mean, the Manafort team could have called him to the witness stand. In fact, I believe they threatened to last week. And in fact, the prosecution didn't want to call Gates, and the judge said, then you got no case. If you don't call Gates to the stand, well, I guess we kind of see why. But why didn't they just drop the case instead of looking like flipping morons?
Yeah, well, the Trump derangement syndrome people would have gone crazy.
I think you're exactly right. I mean, I think that is the driving force in so many things today. Yeah. Trump derangement syndrome. I mean, it's got an IC9 code and everything. They can make it a diagnosis.
So obviously they gave this Rick Gates guy immunity for going against Manafort, but
all he did was admit, and then Manafort's team's going to get out there next week probably
and crucify him.
This guy has no credibility.
Yeah. Would you trust a guy that just admitted in court that he ripped his boss or his partner off?
Yeah, and it's a jury trial.
Wow.
So, I mean, if I'm on the jury, I'm not going to believe this guy for nothing.
Exactly. Wow, that'll be interesting to see what's going to happen.
You know what? It's also a big fat waste of money.
Yeah. No kidding. Well, to begin with, they should have arrested him, like the regular FBI should have arrested him. This had nothing to do with Mueller.
Yeah, now Mueller could have tipped him off and said, hey, this guy embezzled money, Yeah. That's kind of what he did with that Cohen, that attorney.
Yeah.
I mean, Mueller's not trying that one. He tipped off the New York region and said, this guy's done some bad financial things.
Wow. Okay.
So, Don Jr., I'm getting worried about him.
Yeah, there's been some stuff in the news about that up here too. So. Okay,
so he testifies in front of Congress a couple months ago that he went to the meeting with the Russian. I don't know. She was kind of like a double agent, I guess. He went there hoping to get some dirt on Hillary during the 2016 election.
Right.
And his father didn't know about it, he said. He said he got there and they talked about adoptions, okay?
Okay.
It looks like he lied in front of Congress, and these derangement people are not going to let this go. He will have to do time.
Wow.
I just don't think this is I think this is a thing.
Huh.
I really do. And did the president know? Hell, it seems like the president possibly knew now.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm seeing in the news here is that, basically the people with the derangement syndrome are saying this is treason. So, yet,
Well, yeah, and they're not going to let,
yet
and
they
the
don't
best
look
way
the other direction.
yeah, if you can't get Trump, what a better way than to get one of his kids?
Yeah, for sure.
And what's Kimberly Guilfoyle going to do? She's now not on Fox. He goes to jail. What's she going to do?
Well, she doesn't have to report on it. So, we have to agree with that.
Yeah, and we don't always agree, but life's a journey, and we're all in this together. Thanks for listening. Godspeed, Connor, and Godspeed to all of our friends out there.
Godspeed, Grace, and thanks for listening.
Dueling Dialogues is brought to you by our affiliates at hostpapa.com. Click the banner on the rightleftchronicles.com for premium unlimited web hosting with the highest rated reviews at the lowest prices.